Good morning, all you beautiful souls, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Tuesday, May 4th, 2021. I am Raheem Escalay, and this is 413 Sports Talk, episode 42. I would like to start by pointing out a couple things. Lakers shooting guard Schrader is out. I think he's out for about 2 to 3 weeks. LeBron sits again last night as we barely beat the Nuggets. And our season's kind of starting to unravel. I think it was kind of weird yesterday how LeBron conveniently talked about play-in tournaments, and that's how the style of the playoffs should be in the NBA. It doesn't matter to me either way personally, but if LeBron's bringing it up, it's got to be some kind of reason for concern. Something else interesting I want to point out to you: former New York Yankees pitcher CC Sabathia has a wife, and she is now officially a baseball agent. So it looks like his character leaked off into her, and now his wife wants to manage baseball players, and I think that's really good. Honestly, I think it's good for women to be integrated into sports, which are mainly dominated by men. I love that. I had a great chance to sit and speak with Coach Kristen McDonald. She coaches in Norwood High School boys basketball team. As you know, of her storied career, she won over 211 games while she was the coach for the Braintree, Massachusetts high school girls basketball team. I believe exactly her record was 211 and 32. Six state championships in 10 years, something like that. She's a divine leader of not just men, of women too. And I like to see stuff like that. I like to see women, crossing lines, doing different things, and their presence no longer being able to be it's not like an elephant in the room kind of thing. Like, oh, I'm a girl coaching guys and stuff. So that's gotta be that's pretty awesome. I like that. What else can we talk about? Russell Westbrook again managed to duplicate one of his rare performances. What was it again? Some crazy point total. It was like I think he had like 30, 21 rebounds, 24 assists, something like that. Russell Westbrook definitely went off, and I think it was probably one of the greater games that was on TV last night, besides for the Lakers Nuggets. So just a couple things I wanted to speak on before we get into it. So as you know, I have scores from the MLB, the NHL, the NBA, and grading the draft continues. So without further ado, let's get into the meat of the show. Getting into the meat of the show, here goes some scores for all you beautiful people. We have Orlando Magic beat the Detroit Pistons 119 to 112. Washington Wizards beat the Indiana Pacers 154 to 141. That was kind of like what I was alluding to as far as talking about Russell Westbrook and the kind of night he had last night. And it wasn't just him. It was the entire team. I've seen that Washington team heat up. I've seen them get good. I've seen them play and stay in competition with the likes of the Brooklyn Nets. You know what I mean? So I think that Washington can run with any team. They score a whole bunch of points. Westbrook's responsible for it, and they have more of a complete team. And I love offensive basketball. So was a great one. Golden State Warriors over the New Orleans Pelicans, 123 to 108. Atlanta Hawks over the Portland Trailblazers, 123 to 114. Philadelphia 76ers beat the Chicago Bulls, 106 to 94. New York Knicks, shout out to you, Coach Paul Chimura. Your New York Knicks won by a score of 118 to 104 over the Memphis Grizzlies. Coach Paul Chimura and I, during our interview, sat and talked about basketball for a while. Talked about his Knicks and how it's crazy that in every year of my lifetime, the Knicks have been horrible, except for now. So it's crazy to see. And it's even more rewarding from my perspective to see a fan of that team after your team has been in the doghouse on the ground for so long. And then for your squad to finally put it together and start gelling and start winning some games, I think it's just no other better feeling, honestly. So yeah, shout out to Coach Paul Chimura, the assistant head basketball coach of the Central Golden Eagles. Your Knicks are doing pretty good, man. Anyway, we have Utah Jazz over the San Antonio Spurs, 110 to 99. Los Angeles Lakers, as I alluded to, beat the Denver Nuggets 93 to 89. LeBron's having to turn it up lately. When you don't have help and you're the star, you got to do it. But when you're in your upper 30s and you have to do everything, it sucks. And that's why other teams have been able to score buckets on us, frankly. And then add to the fact that LeBron's sitting here and there, and it's just a whole big cluster freak. You know what I mean? So those are your games from the NBA. We've got a lot of competitive NBA action tonight, so make sure you don't miss it. In Major League Baseball, Philadelphia Phillies beat the Milwaukee Brewers 4-3. The Dodgers and Chicago Cubs game was postponed. Minnesota Twins beat the Texas Rangers 6-5. St. Louis Cardinals beat the New York Mets 6-5. Cleveland Indians over the Kansas City Royals by a score of 8-6. San Francisco Giants and Colorado Rockies. I believe, Colorado Rockies. That game was canceled again. Tampa Bay Rays over the Los Angeles Angels 7-3. Oakland Athletics over the Toronto Blue Jays 5-4. I think they're just called the Toronto Jays now. Dallas beats Seattle by a score of 5-3, and Baltimore Orioles beat the Seattle Mariners by a score of 5-3. And last but not least for the nightcap, San Diego Padres beat the Pittsburgh Pirates by a score of 2-0. Sorry I butchered those NBA scores, or the MLB scores. It's been a heck of a morning, as you can see. One cup of coffee so far. Moving on to the NHL. Buffalo over the New York Islanders 4-2. Boston Bruins over the New Jersey Devils 3-0. Washington Capitals beat the New York Rangers by a score of 6-3. Philly over Pittsburgh 7-2. Carolina ends up beating Chicago Blackhawks 5-2. Minnesota over Vegas 6-5. Los Angeles Angels and the Arizona Coyotes 3-2. Los Angeles notches the win. Edmonton over Vancouver 5-3. And Colorado beats San Jose by a score of 5-4. In the final, by way of a shootout. Interesting hockey when it comes down to that. You got one guy going to score for one end, and then they get a chance with the other end, and it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool thing. So those are your scores for the regular global sports. And to get into my favorite section of the show today, and it's probably going to be my favorite section of the show for the week. We now move on to grading the draft. Today, I bring you one half of the AFC South. The Indianapolis Colts and the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee Titans, who obviously won the division, and the Colts were 11-5. They were the runner-up, but probably one of the better teams in the AFC last year. So without further ado, let's grade the draft. The Indianapolis Colts were 11-5 in 2020. This offseason, they managed to grab a better starting quarterback than they had in their current carousel with the acquisition of former Philadelphia Eagles quarterback Carson Wentz. I'm not sure what's going on with him. If you could stay healthy, he plays so good, but it's often more than not that he's incapacitated or can't read the defense or just isn't playing well. There's something weird about that guy. But I'm no GM, and Frank Reich and the guys over there in Indianapolis wanted to give him a shot. So why not? So you have that. And we're going to get into the draft now with the Colts. When evaluating their roster and looking at it in entirety as far as contracts and certain guys getting played for extra money from incentives, reaching certain points in your contract, I found that the Indianapolis Colts were in need of a tackle at the end, a wide receiver, a safety, and a tight end. A couple of those spots they filled via the draft. They drafted Sam Ehlinger, Texas quarterback, in the 6th round. So I think he's another guy that can get added in there. Can he compete right away? No. I don't think he's NFL ready. He's a couple of years to develop himself. He's definitely not a bona fide day one starter, if we want to call him that. Picks I liked that the Colts made. I like their first rounder with Kwity Paye from the Michigan Wolverines. He was first round. They picked him with the 18th overall pick. I think Kwity Paye was a safe pick. I like what Indy's already doing down there in regards to their defensive line. With Arik Armstead and now Kwity Paye and other guys like that. I look to see this Indianapolis Colts team step up this year. Their claim to fame is going to be defensive football, and I think Indy is going to shut a lot of folks down that you didn't think would get shut down by Indy before. I'm not really sure how Carson Wentz is going to play. He hasn't really proven anything to me yet, as far as consistency is concerned. But that's just a prayer. This guy was his acquisition was a shot in the dark, so to speak. So kind of left their general manager not really knowing what to do, not really having much of a backup plan at quarterback. So let's hope that they get through that. Tennessee Titans are the other team I broke down. They were number 1 in the AFC South with a nice record of 11-5. I felt like they needed a wide receiver, a tight end, a corner, offensive tackle, maybe on the left side, and a safety. They definitely need the tight end as they let Jonnu Smith go, as he was signed in free agency by the Patriots. And the other holes on their team, I believe kind of like this draft, they filled them a little bit. I like Caleb Farley. Obviously, he was the 22nd overall pick in the first round, selected by Tennessee. He's either at 1,000% or his back is hurt and it's tearing everybody up. I think that if Caleb can get healthy and utilize that quick breakaway speed that he has, he is going to be exactly the player he was when he played for Virginia Tech. I love the acceleration. The top end speed is something I haven't seen in an NFL player in quite some time. So for his sake, I hope that he gets better and that his career doesn't have those nagging back injuries. Because if you have back injuries, you have any injuries at a nagging period, you can't play. And in the NFL, it's all about your availability. You're just cool. You can be talented. You can be a physical freak, a gym rat, whatever. Yeah, it's awesome. But the best trait is to be available and ready at all times. Another pick I liked. Let's see. I like who else did Tennessee took? They took Dylan Radunes, the left tackle who protected Trey Lance in North Dakota State University. I really like that that pick. I think Dylan Radunes was one of my top offensive linemen going into this draft. So I'm proud that he got picked at Tennessee. They got the linebacker Monty Rice. I like the way Monty Rice plays. He's another guy I was high on when I was doing my individual positional breakdowns. Monty Rice he's one of those guys. He's a great rapid tackler. He hits you hard, and with zone coverage, Monty Rice isn't a guy that just sits there. Just wait for you to come in my zone. Monty Rice goes and follows guys in their zones and makes the tackle. So if you're going over the middle and you're doing like a comeback route or whatever the case may be, if you need to stay away from this guy because he plays grass, not zone, not a section when it comes to zone defense. And when you play the grass and you play any guys coming into the zone, you can stop everything. So my observation of how Monty Rice plays, it's awesome. The last pick that I think the Colts made that the Tennessee Titans made to shore up their defensive line was drafting Rashad Weaver in the 4th round, and he's a steal. Honestly, I felt Rashad Weaver is one of the best edge rushers in this class. If you go back to one of the episodes and where I broke down the position specifically, he's definitely on that list and very close to the top. So I think it's all player development and what's going to go on with the defense in Tennessee this year. We were just talking about Indy. I just want to know what the difference is going to be. Is this draft what you needed to get over the hump and start winning some football games, winning serious ones, and getting into the playoffs? Or is this just another wasted draft? Who knows? But not for nothing, I predict Tennessee to win the division again. I want to say they'll be 12-5 this year and win the whole thing. Gotta remember that 17th game. So, if I'm not mistaken, what else do I have for you? Excuse me. And this concludes episode 42 of 4-3 Sports Talk. I'm your host, Raheem Escalade. Unfortunately, I could not make an episode of Waterfront Week happen today. Some difficulties, miscommunications, or what have you going on. But tomorrow, Waterfront Week will definitely resume. I would like to personally thank each and every one of you for loving and showing support to the show by watching it and commenting and leaving your reactions. If there's anything I missed, any fact I got wrong, anything I just clearly forgot to mention, please add it in the comment section or message me and I will adjust it and or put the correct, proper fact down on the video. Again, my name is Raheem Escalade and I am coming to you from one of my favorite spots, as I mentioned before, the Mocha Emporium. Anything you need breakfast, come here and get it. The scenery, the seating, the 5-star service, you will love your experience, as I do. As you see, I'm a repeated customer. I come every day. So, get down here when you need your coffee. Don't go to Dunkin', don't go to McDonald's. Come right through Mocha Emporium, and just a rich flavor in the coffee should be enough to make sure that you never go anywhere else for what you need in the morning. Again, my name is Raheem Escalade. This was episode 42 of 4-3 Sports Talk. May 4th, 2021. The rest of you have a great day. I'm going to wish and pray for it. And we will see you tomorrow. Great day.